Today I'm going to talk about how I carry out structured medication reviews as a PCN pharmacist. Hello everyone, my name is Osama. I'm a pharmacist working in England and welcome to the channel. So when I started my role as a PCN pharmacist, trying to nail down what a structured medication review was quite difficult actually. I did quite a bit of research about it, obviously trying to prepare for the role, and everyone seemed to have a different answer and a different version of what an SMR was. Yeah, it was like the whole concept of an SMR was just wrapped up in a lot of mystique and mystery and whatnot. So today I'm not going to talk about what an SMR is because there's loads of videos out there that can tell you what an SMR is. Instead, today what I'm going to do is actually talk about my own particular style of doing an SMR. So hopefully you might find value in that. How do I get started with SMRs? Well, the first step is to actually get them booked in. So what I do is I get my care coordinators to phone patients off an SMR case finder list which stratifies patients according to risk. So we try to do the highest risk patients first. So I cover 2 surgeries and my care coordinators will, if they have time, they phone quite a few patients to try and get so many booked in per week. So I mean it varies, but usually we try and do 4 patients per surgery per week, so that's like 8 a week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of my patients, they are quite complex and I do have other tasks that I have to do within the surgeries and other follow-ups and other projects. So there is scope to wrap that up. For the moment, I just do 8 solid SMRs per week. Once I've identified the patients that I want to call, before I actually call them, I do some background reading on their notes. So I'll go through the notes, maybe like for 5-10 minutes or so, probably just about 5 to be honest with you, to try and get a feel of that patient and see their background and their past medical history. And I find the more I'm doing this, the more you get a feel for that type of patient even before you've even rung them, to be honest with you. So a lot of my patients, they are quite new because I've never sort of spoken to them before, but sort of by reading the medical background, you do get a really good feel for that patient. The next step after that is to actually go and phone the patient. So I'll give them a call. If there's no answer, I'll make a note on the patient medical record and I will phone them again, usually within a week, to be honest with you. If it's really urgent, I'll send them an AccuRx text message to let them know that I really need to speak to them, and if I still can't get hold of them, I'll get reception to send them a letter. So it depends on the patient, but if they're not sort of engaging, not responding, there's only so many times really that you can chase them, and you just have to call it quits and move on. If I successfully make contact with the patient, I will just confirm their details, and then I'll get their smoking status, their alcohol status, and then I ask them if they buy any drugs over the counter from the pharmacy, which you can actually put in as an OTC medicine on the patient medication record. I will also ask if they have any drug allergies and whether they have their medicines dispensed within a monitored dosage system. And then before I get into all the nitty-gritty of the tablets, I actually ask them themselves, how do they feel that they're getting on with their medicines. You've got to give them the so-called golden minute to let them get things off their chest and set the tone for the appointment. Once the initial information gathering is out of the way and we can sort of move on to have a conversation, I will then ask them, I will go through each medicine one by one and ask them how do they take it and how are they getting on with that particular medicine. So usually what I tend to do is items like inhalers or analgesics I tend to leave towards the end because they are usually the more complicated items to deal with. And once we've done that, I will sort of summarize back to them anything that I feel that they need to change around the medicine. So usually that's proton pump inhibitor reduction like lansoprazole 30 milligram to reduce that to 15 milligram or even take them off altogether. and also analgesia reduction. So a lot of work I'm doing at the moment is with your opiate medicines, your gabapentins, things like that. So I try and tell them about the long-term risks of these drugs like PPIs and analgesics and try and get them to reduce the dose, if not come off it altogether. I'd say in about 50% of patients I will probably follow up with them, especially if I've made changes to their medication regime. So it's usually some sort of reduction, and I will phone them up perhaps like in a month or so to see how they're doing. If I'm initiating a new drug like an SGLT2I or a statin, I also like to phone them a week later to see how they're doing in before I book them in for bloods. I just want to assess tolerability of drugs and then get them booked in for bloods. Following up patients is fantastic because it gives you that continuity of care, and not just that, patients themselves actually like it because you're not leaving them in the lurch, and they really do appreciate that time that you've spent with them to try and help them out with their problems essentially. Another thing I'll do as part of an SMR is to just check on their blood monitoring if it's needed. So say they're overdue some monitoring, I'll get them booked in for some bloods, or if I've got the bloods available, if they've had recent bloods, I will do the monitoring myself. So it could be a statin or a DOAC drug, for example. Sometimes as well, if they are due the medicines, they'll tell me they're about to put in for a repeat medicine. I'll actually just go and sign the prescription for them there and then, and it saves them a lot of hassle. And again, they really appreciate it. And then what I do when I finish the consultation, I just ask them if there's any other medicine related stuff that I can help them with. Yeah, so if there's nothing I can help them with, if there's nothing else I can help them with, should I say, I just bid them goodbye, and I just say to them if there's anything that they do want to talk to me, they might, so maybe in a week's time, remember something that they wanted to discuss that they didn't remember at that particular time. I just get them to phone the surgery and ask for me, and then I can go through things with them either over the phone, and always give them the option to see me face to face should they wish to do that. So that in a nutshell is how I do my structured medication reviews. I suppose everyone has their own different style. I just wanted to give a quick overview of how I do things. I might have left one or two things off, I'm not sure. I felt like I've covered all the major things anyway. You know, if there's anything I've missed out, you know, let me know in the comments. But over to you guys. How do you guys do your structured medication reviews? Do you have a particular thing that works for you? You know, it'd be great to hear from you. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks ever so much. Bye.